We are honored to be joined by the non-resident ambassador of Sweden to the Maldives, His Excellency Jan Teslev. Ambassador Teslev presented his credentials to the President of Maldives in February 2023, and he also serves concurrently as Sweden's ambassador to India, Bhutan, Nepal and Sri Lanka, based at the Embassy of Sweden in New Delhi. Sweden is recognized worldwide as a leader in sustainability, innovation and diplomacy. In this conversation, we will explore shared priorities between Sweden and Maldives, from environmental cooperation, sustainable transport to strengthening diplomatic ties and global partnerships. I am Mariam Shaushat and this is PSM News Exclusive. Here with me on this episode of PSM News Exclusive, we have with us the Sweden's ambassador to India, Bhutan, Nepal and Sri Lanka and also the Maldives, based at the Embassy of Sweden in New Delhi, Jan Teslev. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I have a couple of areas which I would like to focus our conversation on, but I would like to begin with the diplomatic relations. So currently, how would you describe the current state of the relations between Sweden and Maldives, and what are the key areas of cooperation and collaboration between the two nations?
I think we have excellent relations actually, and we see in this world that we live in, it's a world of unprecedented uncertainty, and we have to build even stronger relations with friendly nations, with partners like the Maldives. And that's a little bit the mission that I have with my visit here this week, to meet both with ministers, with the political establishment of the Maldives, but also with diplomatic colleagues, with NGOs and with business, of course.
Yeah. What are the main areas of discussions in the ministerial meetings?
I think that one has to take as a point of departure what is the strengths of Sweden and what are the needs of the Maldives. And we see that there is, especially when it comes to transportation, when it comes to environment, when it comes to sustainability, there are a lot of things to learn from one another. So that has been the focus and will be the focus of my talks here in Male.
Like I mentioned, Sweden is recognized worldwide as a leader in sustainability, innovation and diplomacy. Beyond climate and environment, what other opportunities do you see for strengthening ties with the Maldives, such as trade, tourism, educational and cultural ties?
You know, Maldives is a unique country in the sense that it's very widespread. I mean, 900 kilometers in diameter, so to say, thousands of islands. And of course this poses both advantages but also challenges. Communication is a very important aspect in most countries, but especially in the Maldives. So we are looking at the maritime sector, also both from a transport point of view, but also from an environmental point of view. So one of the things we are discussing and will be discussing is e-vessels, so electrical boats, how they could serve the Maldives. They are environmentally friendly, they don't make noise and they don't vibrate. So the underwater life, which is fantastic in the Maldives, I've seen it and I know it, doesn't suffer from the vibrations, and you have a much more quiet environment, and they are they don't use fuels, carbon fuels that will be hurtful to the environment. So that's one of the examples of what we can do.
The e-vessels is quite promising and quite interesting as well. Are there any discussions that focused on that part?
Yes, we have actually. You know, I think that when it comes to the environment, and of course transportation also, but also other sectors than transport, we have to look at technology, we have to look at innovation. And my country is ranking top when it comes to the most innovative countries in the world. How can we use the latest technologies, the latest innovations to serve the environment and to serve also the economy? It has to be economically viable, but it must also be environmentally viable. And that's where we find, for example, when it comes to e-vessels, that's one area where really we have a technology that would work well.
Yeah. Regardless of the administration which is ruling the Maldives is quite vocal in the UN. In your view, how can the Maldives and Sweden work together more effectively on multilateral platforms like the UN to amplify the voices of small nations on a global scale?
The Maldives have been really a precursor and very vocal and very active when it comes to blue economy issues, for example. And that's very natural if you look at the wonderful country of the Maldives. We have also worked very much in favor of smaller and also island nations. And now, as you know, and we all know, we are gearing up for COP30 in Brazil. And I think this will be a very good opportunity for Sweden and the Maldives to join hands and to see how we can make that event come out in favor of nations like the Maldives. The countries like the Maldives, smaller countries, also need a lot of support, and they need the help also. Again, I'm coming back to technology. Environmental technology will be key if we will keep the 1.5 degree target that was agreed on in Paris.
Yeah. Sweden has pioneered sustainable transport solutions from electric buses to smart city planning. How do you see these innovations being adapted to a small island nation, specifically the Maldives?
I think that with new technologies, especially in the Maldives, you need sometimes small units because you're an island nation with thousands of islands. The big solutions that might apply to a big country might not always suit the Maldives. So we are presenting solutions that can be adapted to the size, local solutions. I would be very happy also to discuss things like solid waste handling, which is a challenge. I mentioned the e-vessels, and there are also other things that we will be able to discuss and to adapt to the Maldives.
Yeah.
And also with the tourism industry is becoming much more aware, and your visitors are demanding more from environmental concerns that they have. What should the resorts present? How should they handle? How should they receive their guests in an environmentally friendly way? I also met an NGO today, active on the environmental issues, to listen to them, to see what are the challenges that they face. How can one improve? We discussed mangroves, for example, in the Maldives, and how that can also serve to stop erosion of islands, etc. So all these things is a wide palette of issues that we are discussing.
Maldives has become very famous, very popular among the Swedish travelers as well. How is the tourism of the country being seen in Sweden?
I think that for Swedish travelers, this is still, we come from a medium-sized country in the north. You have a climate that we cannot even dream of. There was a small dip when it came to tourism over some years, and of course due to the worldwide pandemic. Now it's picking up. We are expecting 12,000 Swedes to visit the Maldives this year. I think that, as for many other countries, people come here for honeymoons, they come here for celebrations. This is a magic place for many. And now with transportation routes and the communications, it's much easier to get to the Maldives than in the past. One of the first tour operators ever to establish resorts on the islands of the Maldives was a Swedish one in 1972. So we were actually one of the precursors when it comes to travel to the Maldives. And now tourists are coming back. We have Swedish tour operators that are active. We have Swedes running resorts in the Maldives. So the relations are very close and cannot but grow over the years.
During your short visit, you must have seen a couple of buses running around the Mali capital area as well. And we also have a very good public transportation system in the Maldives. We have a ferry system established in some islands. We are still working to expand the current routes. Do you see potential for Swedish companies and technologies to contribute to Maldives' efforts in improving public transport, maritime mobility, or reducing emissions in aviation and shipping? Our current government is very open to foreign investors.
Absolutely, and I was so encouraged and happy because on my way here today I was driving behind an electric bus, and that's an example. It says I am electric, are you, or something like that, like a slogan. And I think that in public transportation, if the public authorities take the lead on e-vehicles, it's a very important sign also to the private people to choose e-vehicles for the future. As I mentioned, not only on land transportation, we are talking about e-vessels, e-boats. I think that could be really the future for the Maldives. Sweden is also a leader when it comes to electric aviation. In maybe 5 to 10 years, we will have for shorter flights, and that's the case within the Maldives. We will have e-aviation coming strong, and that will be both environmentally friendly and economically viable. These planes that are now being developed by Swedish companies, they're also of the size that I think will serve the Maldives, up to 45 seaters. So not the very big planes, but they can of course go on frequent routes instead of being big. So that's another area where I think we can work together in the future oriented.
What role does innovation in transport and green technology play in Sweden's broader foreign policy and international cooperation strategy?
We have always had, I think we are famous for that, and also in the Maldives, we have had an outreach. We are a medium-sized country, and we cannot say that we have a domestic market. For us, the market has always been the global market, always been reaching out. We've had an extensive network of embassies. We have probably, we have per capita the biggest number of multinational companies in the world per capita. So for us, it's always been a global outreach. And that shows also in where we establish ourselves and who we cooperate with. I'm ambassador to 5 countries in this region. I see a lot of communalities between these countries also. And it's with that open mind and with that spirit of cooperation that I've come to Mali this time.
You were also representing your country in the Middle East. How was Maldives perceived in those countries? How was Maldives perceived in other nations?
Yeah, I've served almost 35 years in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And as you know, the Middle East is turning very much towards also the Maldives. A lot of tourists coming in, a lot of visitors, a lot of investment coming in. And even before I came here for the first time, some years ago, I heard so much about the Maldives, and I always wondered what this place would be like, and I wondered if I would ever visit it. And then when my foreign minister called me in 2021 and asked me if I could come as ambassador, I was very happy. The distances to the Gulf area especially is very, very, very limited. And when I landed here the other day, who was next to me on the tarmac? There was Emirates, there was Qatar Airways, etc. No, it's very close, and I'm sure that business will also develop over time.
In your recent stay, what was the area which you focused more in discussions? Mostly during discussions, it depends on the interests. It depends on the interests of countries. It depends on the focuses the current government, Maldives government, also want to focus on. What were more concerns raised by the government which they want your assistance in?
I think that people look to us where there is an interest. is exactly on these issues of sustainability. I think that no country can be good at everything, but all countries can be good at something. And they see in us that we are leaders, technology leaders. We also have an experience of developing legislation in when it comes to protecting the environment, climate mitigating issues. I think we are also seen as a neutral country, a country that acts even-handed in our partnerships with different countries. So from that point of view, I think they see us as an honest broker. When I meet my Maldivian friends and also from other countries, I don't hesitate to say, of course, where we succeeded, but also where we failed and what we did about it. Because I think that all successes are built on trial and error. You never succeed the first time you do something. And if you do, you're probably not telling the truth. So we have made a lot of trial and error over the years. We started out as one of the poorest countries in Europe a little bit more than 100 years ago, 120 years ago. And today we are at the top of the league when it comes to both economic development and technical development. And this shows that a country that comes from that starting point that we did, we actually can manage with the right education, with investing in research, with investing in innovation. And I'm also very happy, I heard here during my days in the Maldives, how innovation is also a focus area for the youth of this country, and the creativity and to creativity in areas maybe where you can have a special advantage. And I can see creativity in things that are relevant to the Maldives: water technology, environmental technology, tourism, hospitality, fisheries, ship construction, building of boats. There are many areas where you really have you're very well placed to have a special position.
Like I mentioned before, Sweden is seen globally as a leader in sustainability. Although the climate of Maldives and Sweden are very different, what lessons or best practices could Maldives adopt from Sweden in addressing climate change and environmental challenges? Some of the best practices.
Actually, some of our innovators, some of our researchers, they have come up with innovations that are not that adapted to our conditions, but maybe better adapted to your conditions.
You mean in Sweden?
In Sweden.
Yeah.
I can give you one example. We have a Swedish company that is working on electrical generation through wave technology. So underwater wave technology. This is something that is very well suited to your climate and to where you are, because it's underwater movements that generate electricity. Something that we are based on hydropower in Sweden. We have a massive amount of hydropower. We are basically climate neutral when it comes to generating electricity. For you, power and power generation is a challenge because of the island structure and because of the small entities that together consist of the Maldives. So I think that even things that come out of our innovators are something that can be useful to you. And that's the interest I feel from the interlocutors I have met so far. I'll continue having meetings tomorrow to present this and see how we can go forward.
Yeah. Rising sea level is an existential threat to the Maldives. How does Sweden, in view of urgency of climate action for small island nation like ours, and in what ways can Sweden support our efforts further?
Climate action is always global. It's not something that you cannot never say that climate action is for this country or that country, and no, it's for everyone, because we all know that the effects of climate change has no borders. So the rising sea levels that is an existential threat to nations like the Maldives is also a threat to us, and it's a threat to the environment. We think that the international action, including climate financing, is key to address this. We must have more solidarity. We must show that solidarity also at COP30 in Belém. So that's one of the, let's say, target dates that we have ahead of us.
Can you share some of the ongoing or upcoming collaborations between the Maldives and Sweden in areas such as renewable energy, waste management, or maritime conservation?
I will be able to share more after my visit, because we are discussing this. We are presenting different solutions that we hope will be of interest to our Maldivian friends. But when I look at it objectively, I think there are so many areas of let's say, mutual interest and mutual concern where we have to find mutual solutions. So I mentioned transportation, I mentioned in electrical generation, etc. And I think that those are areas that will be specifically in focus in our talks.
Yeah. Although few, we have some of our students pursuing higher education in Sweden.
Yes.
What are the opportunities Maldivian students have for further studies in Sweden?
We have a few students. We should have more.
Yes.
Many of them come especially for environmental studies and climate studies, which we think is good. We should have more than we have today. As a foreign student, Sweden is a very good destination, because we have 950 master programs that are available in English. So you don't have to learn another language. Maldivians, most of you speak excellent English, so you can have direct access to a master program. We are trying to attract specifically master students. We feel that that's where you can benefit the most from studying in Sweden. We have liberal rules when it comes to student visas. Those who go to Sweden, they can work in parallel with their studies. They can work without limits. And after they graduate, they can stay another year, maybe to look for a job, maybe to find a job, maybe to work for another 12 months. And once they find a job, of course, they can get a work permit. So rules are liberal, it's in English, and it's available. Maybe connecting to the student issue and tourism issue also, the people-to-people contacts are very important. I think that I see how I meet talented youth in the Maldives, and I think that we have to invest more in them, be it in studies, be it also in attracting maybe new groups of tourists to the Maldives. I can see adventure tourism coming, people who don't only enjoy the quietness of holiday, but also want active holidays, be it surfing, maybe also with environmental focus. So I see that coming up as new areas.
Your Excellency, we are very grateful to have you share with your insights with us. It has been an honor to hear your insights, hear your thoughts about sustainability, transport innovation, and the deepening of diplomatic ties between the Sweden and the Maldives. As our nations work together, whether on climate change, technology, or improving sustainability or global cooperation, we look forward to strengthening our ties with Sweden. Thank you once again for sparing some time and speaking with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that concludes this episode of PSM News Exclusive. Thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.